Hello Spartans, I will be the first to admit that I'm terrible at keeping up with trends. I was first exposed to AI around 1 year ago when during a hackathon my team decided to use ChatGPT, which I barely knew anything about. Then, shortly after returning to Prague, boom, ChatGPT exploded and AI was everywhere. And it has become quite an important tool for me ever since. Last week I had the pleasure of joining a fireside organized by SUMO Logic with John Visneski and Seth Williams, where I had the opportunity to share my thoughts on the impact of AI in cybersecurity. Given the time constraints, I was not able to share all my insights and ideas on the topic. So in this mini-series, I will be doing just that. Let's dive right in. In my video named Avoiding the Experts Trap, I briefly discuss AI and why it could be the solution to knowledge gatekeeping. Now, let's focus on how AI is affecting and will affect the threat landscape. When it comes to threats created by AI, you can look at the problem from two different angles. The first one is attacks against AI models, and the second one is attacks using AI models. AI models and products still rely on legacy infrastructure, with stacks that include dedicated hardware and software, as well as CI/CD pipelines, databases, etc. This toolchain can be attacked like any other, but AI lends itself to other types of attacks because it relies heavily on data. One such attack is data poisoning, where an attacker can tamper with a training dataset by injecting, deleting, or modifying data. Just as you can't expect to be well-spoken by spending your days watching Love Island,
electric eels.
Yes.
How does that work?
you can't expect your AI models to produce good results if you feed them garbage. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. Another type of attack is model tampering, where the trained model is tampered with by modifying its parameters, or even by inserting malicious code that affects the output of the model or triggers the execution of malicious code on the machine running the model. As an example, there have been several models hosted by Hugging Face that allow the person uploading them to spawn a remote shell when these models were executed. Other types of attacks exist to steal either the data used to train the model or even the model itself by probing it and analyzing the results. As you can see, because AI and machine learning toolchains are still a combination of input, processing, and output, they suffer from the same pains as legacy applications. The problem with AI is the degree of trust that people place in these models to make critical decisions, such as blocking traffic on a given port because the AI suspects that there is brute force happening. Regarding attacks using AI models, you only need to consider old-school attacks, now done even by the least experienced people who are able to scale them and make them more robust. AI can be used to generate phishing emails and malware and to find vulnerabilities in software. However, perhaps the most concerning types of attacks involve deepfakes, which are images, video, or audio that are highly realistic and can help an attacker impersonate someone you trust. And if you are looking to lose some sleep tonight, I highly recommend doing a quick search on Google on deepfakes and scams. I started by highlighting the darker side of AI, but you, as a ChatGPT user, might only see the good stuff. As someone who loves cybersecurity, I feel that we are in for a huge shakeup in the next few years. And I will dive into that later in this video. But for now, let's look at the benefits of AI in cybersecurity. The first one is that generating pieces of code for your automation tools is a breeze. Think about the existing code copilots. The second benefit is spotting and blocking malicious phishing attempts, exploiting patterns and malicious websites. Then we have detecting deepfakes, bots, fake accounts, and social engineering threats. Another great advantage is that AI will help you research and understand complex topics by finding answers to questions that a classic Google search might not fully solve. It will also help security analysts, security engineers, or even less experienced folks make sense of vulnerabilities and alerts from security products. It will assist incident responders and SOC analysts in investigations. Imagine a copilot that not only sees the same alerts as you, but also suggests next steps for your investigation. It will also help companies optimize their security tools to save some money. Imagine a situation where a company buys a SIEM or a log management solution and they need to choose which data sources to ingest in a way that improves visibility but doesn't break the bank. AI can analyze patterns in these logs and decide which logs should be ingested and which ones should be left out. It will also be much easier for companies and you as a security professional to sift through mountains of vulnerabilities from your favorite scanners and prioritize based on your company's context and security controls. For instance, if you have an internal web server that new hires use for pen testing practice, you don't need to be bombarded with unnecessary alerts. AI can help you with that by looking at the context, even though with the current tooling that we have in place these days, you can simply exclude that server from scans. When it comes to compliance and vulnerabilities, AI can, with enough context, do proper risk assessments and show what could happen if a vulnerability isn't fixed, meaning how far can an attacker go based on the server stack, network setup, and existing access controls. This is something that I have seen on a product named Wiz.io, but with tech advances it could go even further. And if you are new to the field, you might ask, why prioritize vulnerabilities instead of fixing them all? They are vulnerabilities after all, they need to be patched immediately. The reality, folks, is that cybersecurity works on best efforts, not best practices. Patching and adding new security measures takes time away from building product features that bring money to a company. And sometimes policies or patches can even break things and upset people. And still on the topic of prioritization, AI will be able to prioritize alerts based on the history of the user or the system behind them. If a user or a server has been associated with many security incidents in the past, all the alerts related to these entities should be top priority. AI can also scan your infrastructure to find compliance issues that might trip you up during audits. It could just warn you or even go ahead and fix them. Beyond the technical stuff, AI can help you pull the right metrics for security reports, like trends or gaps, and even analyze analyst performance and workloads to detect and prevent burnout. And as you know, especially in security operations, burnout is a big deal. I've just given you a huge list of benefits that AI can have in cybersecurity. But of course, the question is now, are there any downsides to AI? AI's biggest strength and weakness is context. While it can process huge amounts of data faster than any human, conflicting data in the training set usually leads to erratic behavior. At the same time, it cannot, for now, obtain data outside of the digital realm. Conflicting or missing data will inevitably lead to what we call hallucinations. For example, AI might know that Bob is a manager, but it probably wouldn't know that Bob is late with deadlines because of personal issues at home and not because he spends too much time on social media. This example shows that AI will never have all the context, and even if it did, it might still make strange assumptions due to conflicting data. This leads to many situations where AI falls short. The first one is explaining subject things like human performance and emotions. As an example, detecting dissatisfaction at work based on browsing activity. The second one is replacing the experience and intuition of senior professionals. Because AI struggles with conflicting information and lacks insight into what happens outside of its training data. AI will also struggle on making important decisions about hiring, firing, or performance reviews. Another one, and this one is quite clear, leading and motivating a team. Final one, and this one is related to context as well, handling bias, because biases aren't always bad. Optimism, believing in someone's potential, trusting experienced people over juniors are all human biases that usually lead to good outcomes, but not always. AI can also have biases, but they aren't usually the helpful type. It may make decisions purely based on data. However, some of the major breakthroughs of humankind went against all odds. Finally, nuance and context can trip AI up easily. Just look at what happened with Microsoft's Bot. It quickly went off the rails when exposed to the messy realities of the internet. And that is it, Spartans. This is the first part of my mini-series on AI and cybersecurity. Stay tuned for the next video. Until next time, stay safe, stay paranoid.